Now today we'll discuss about the spring test. So this is the spring testing apparatus and the springs which are used for the experiment. So now on this screen you can see two springs. This is actually helically coiled spring or helical springs, and there are two types of springs in that one. One is called closed coiled spring, and the other one is what is called open coiled spring. Open coiled spring, closed coiled spring classification is based on the angle of helix. That is when one turn of the spring is cut and straightened in between the pitch, which means the distance, longitudinal distance between 2 points on the springs of, coming at the same level. So that is what is called pitch. So in between one pitch, if one turn of the spring is straightened and kept, what is the angle that make it horizontal? That is what is called angle of helix. So depending on the angle of helix, this is classified into closed coil spring and open coil spring. So the angle of helix is less than 5 degree, that is what is called a closed coil spring. If it is equal to or greater than 5 degree, it is called an open coil spring. So in the case of open coil spring, when axial load is applied on the spring, that spring wire is also subjected to bending. But in the closed coil spring, that bending effect is not considered being very small or negligible. So there is a difference between open coil spring and closed coil spring. So in the governing expressions also you can view that way. So here these two springs actually are coming under the category open coil spring, and in one spring the hooks are provided. Just for applying tensile force on that one. This is a hook at one end and this is the hook at the other end. So in between these two hooks we can apply tensile force on this one. And the other spring, that is it is not closed coil spring, it is also an open coil spring, but the ends are kept in such a way that compressive force that can be applied onto that spring. So on the first spring, tensile force can be applied, and on the second spring, compressive force can be applied. And for these springs, you have to take some physical measurements. The total length from one end to the other end of the spring is to be measured. That is a linear measurement distance, linear or length of the spring. And in between that spring, how many turns are coming? So if you start from here, what is the length of that spring or number of turns that is coming to the next turn? That is what is called one turn in between these two. So such how many turns are there coming in between the total length of the spring. So total length of the spring, total number of turns. So that the total length divided by number of turns will give the pitch of the spring. So on each spring you have to measure these things. That is the length of the spring as well as number of turns. Then the outer diameter of the spring. That can be measured by using the vernier calipers like this. Outer diameter of the spring, right? By using the vernier caliper you can measure that one. And also the inner diameter of the spring, inside diameter of the spring, that also is required. Inner diameter and diameter of spring coil or spring wire, diameter of the spring wire, that also should be measured. So these are the three diameters you have to measure: external diameter of the spring, internal diameter of the spring, and diameter of the spring wire. These are to be measured along with the length of the spring and number of turns for calculating the pitch of the spring. After that, this spring under which one more thing, this is the experimental setup for testing the spring. This is a very simple equipment in which at the top one hook is there, and at the in between there is one more hook, and along with this hook, one attachment is provided for measuring the deflection, vertical deflection. This is a vertical scale attached to the equipment, and on the moving part there is a poise provided here on which you can see that one, it is from 0 to 10. graduations are provided on the this vernier, we can say, and this part is the main scale, and on that you can see it is graduated in centimeters, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 9, 12, no, 12 centimeter out there. It is out of focus. Okay, 12. So, due to which along the main scale, the least count of the main scale is 1 millimeter, and on the vernier scale, that 1 millimeter is again subdivided into 10 divisions. So, 0.1 millimeter will be the least count of this setup, 0.1 millimeter. So, first you keep the spring in between those two hooks and the tension, and this is the loading position where load is equal to 0. And at the bottom of the equipment, the hanger is first kept. Hanger is having some weight. So due to the weight of the hanger, spring will be subjected to some deformation or elongation. So that can be measured by using this scale. For this dead weight of the hanger, what is the elongation? Then we are adding the weights one by one. So weight of each unit is to be measured. That is equal to 710 gram, I think. Okay? 900 gram. 900 gram. Anyway, you have to check and verify by weighing it physically. So by adding one weight, the total weight will be coming weight of one unit plus hanger. For that, what is the deformation that can be measured from using the scale? And before adding the hanger to that one, you better see whether the reading here is 0 or not. Or that 0 can be adjusted by adjusting the length of the first hook. And here there is one fault is there. So simply by adjusting, you can adjust the length of the spring so that you can keep the reading on the scale exactly as 0 before the adding of the hanger. That is, for 0 load, reading on the scale is can be kept as 0. So that for each load you can get the deflection directly from the scale. Okay. So by adding each load gradually or one by one, you can read the corresponding measurement on the scale. So for each load, you can get the deflection in the increasing order. And after completing the placing of all the loads, you remove them one by one. That is, in the increasing order as well as decreasing order, you can get the deflection corresponding to one particular load. So that you can take the average of these two, so that you can get one set of reading with the load and deflection on the spring. So we are averaging the deflection for increasing and decreasing order just for minimizing the error. And when you keep the load on the hanger, it should be very careful, because this crisscross should happen. If one's load is keeping in this direction, in one direction, for the next loading, that groove should be kept in the opposite direction. Otherwise, there is a chance for that to fall down, and that will damage our legs. So you should be very careful while placing the loads on the hanger. So for the increasing order and the decreasing order of the loading, you have to take the corresponding deflection on the scale and get the average for minimizing the error. So you'll get one set of readings with the load and deflection, and you can make the graph. You can plot the graph. This is physically what is to be done in the lab. After that, it is purely calculation, and from that you can, by using the expression, you can determine the modulus of rigidity of the material as well as the stiffness of the spring. Stiffness is nothing but the force required to produce unit deformation. So from the graph that is between load and deformation, the slope of that graph will be giving the load by deformation. So load by deformation will be the load required for getting unit deformation. That will be the stiffness of the spring. So this is the experimental setup for determining modulus of rigidity for springs under tension. Then we'll check the same with the spring under compression also. For fixing the spring under compression, this attachment should be taken out fully. This attachment may be removed. Remove it like this. right? And the spring should be this rod, vertical rod, should be inserted in between the through the inside of the spring, like this, and it should be kept in between the moving part of the attachment and the base of that equipment, right? So this is how the spring under compression should be kept. This attachment is just provided for applying compressive force onto the spring, that's all. By using any method we can apply that one. And at the bottom of the spring one cylindrical part is attached. This is for adjusting the length of this one, and if this part is not included, means this moving part will come and stay somewhere here, so that taking deflection for further loading will be difficult. So for making that easy only, this part of the cylindrical part is given at the base. Then again you add the hanger at the bottom part, hanger. So this is the zero load position. When the hanger is added, for the weight of the hanger that you have to measure, that will come around this 100, for which the deflection can be measured. And of course this deflection or reading here on the scale will not be equal to 0. So you have to take this as initial reading. And from each reading, that reading should be deducted for getting the corresponding deformation or deflection. It is not actually deflection, it is axial deformation. Axial deformation. Deflection is actually taking place in a direction perpendicular to the longitudinal axis. Here this deformation is actually taking place along the longitudinal direction of the axis of the spring. So for the increment of loading, you can take the corresponding deformation. Similarly, after completing the placement of all the loads, you remove one by one, so that for the decreasing order also you can measure the corresponding deformation. And you take the average of this increasing and decreasing order as the actual deformation, so that the corresponding deformation with the zero deformation for zero load, for which from each reading the initial reading should be deducted. Then only you will get the actual deformation. So for the increasing as well as decreasing, you can get the readings, and then by averaging you can get another set of reading for with the load versus deformation. And with that also you can take a graph or plot a graph. With that we can find out the slope of the graph, and we can calculate the modulus of rigidity of the material of the spring as well as the stiffness of the spring. So this is the spring test.